I'm Jim with Stuff Music, and I'm here today to do a demo of the PRS HDRX 100. The PRS HDRX 100, finished here in black Tolex. The PRS HDRX 100 is a 2-channel, 100-watt all-tube guitar amp head featuring a complement of 3 ECC 803S preamp tubes, 4 EL34 power tubes, a newly designed straight-edge power transformer, and newly documented authentic Hendrix touring circuit to give it the power, flexibility, and balance of late 60s British-inspired tone. On the front panel, from left to right, you will find a power switch, power indicator lamp, presence control, bass, middle, and treble EQ knobs, high, mid-gain switch, treble volume control, 3-way bright switch, bass volume control, and single 1/4-inch instrument input. On the back panel, you will find jacks for either single 4 or dual 8 ohm loads, single 8 or dual 16 ohm loads, single 16 ohm load, external bias jacks, fuse, and power cable jack. Finally, the PRS HDRX head measures 18 by 21.5 by 10 and weighs in at a very manageable 25 pounds. Get yours today at instuffmusic.com, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, now we're back after the specs on the amp. Before we get into it, let's take a quick look at how we're capturing the sound today. I'm going through a couple pedals, straight into the amp, and into the Universal Audio aux box. If you read the manual or PRS's website, they do recommend that this amp be used with some kind of attenuation or IR. Why? Because this is a non-master volume plexi clone. Basically, what they did is they got their hands on the Marshall they think Hendrix used at Woodstock and looked at the circuit and copied it, and then did some modifications to make it quieter, you know, clean up the hiss and the noise floor that sometimes happens with amps of this nature. Bring it into the 21st century. You have a couple little toggles that I'll get into in a second, and, you know, it does the thing it's supposed to do. So I'm going through a 412 cab with greenbacks. In the aux, I've got a 67 and a 121 on the cab. And in the beginning, everything you heard was this amp with this guitar. I'm going to have a touch of plate reverb on it, so let's hear it. Right now, you can see how I have the amp set kind of not screamed out on 10. I generally don't think that these British-style late 60s circuits sound all that great all the way up. 6 tends to be the sweet spot, and you kick it with a pedal. I'll hit it with some fuzz, then we'll listen to it through this 57 gold top Les Paul. And let's see what it does. Here we go. This is a Custom Shop 56 Strat. Here it is in the neck. All right, so there is it doing some Stratty things. Let's talk about these switches on the front panel because I think those are really the only ones that are different than what you'd find in a regular amp of this fare. A quick note about the treble and bass volume. These are the original versions of these amplifiers had 4 inputs, so a lot of people would jumper them between the bright and normal channel. They internally jumper them so you can mix your bright and normal channels just with these 2 volumes. But let's talk about the switches. So you have this high mid gain switch. Here is it off. I'm just going to play some with the high mid gain engaged. So it pushes out the mids. And it'll give you, you know, just a gainier sound. 3-way bright switch. Here it is off. Position 1. Position 2. Let's take the reverb out. So this is handy if you're rolling through different types of guitars. A maple neck Strat, pretty bright. But if you're going to get into a Les Paul or maybe a rosewood board Strat, you might need a kick in the brightness. And as you can see, usually on these amps I run the presence control kind of low to keep the broken glass kind of ice picky, crunchy thing out of the overdrive. Seems to work pretty well. This amp holds together in the low end really well. A lot of times with these old circuits, as soon as you know, if you have them cranked up, as soon as you start to introduce too much bass, they get really flubby. But I find this amp is quite full in the low end, and it doesn't just kind of crap out. And it cleans up really well. Obviously, when you have a 100-watt amp, it's going to be very sensitive to your picking dynamics. Let's hear it with a little uni-vibe. Here we go. So you can hear how that's coloring the tone. It's making it a little brighter. So let's turn that bright switch off. All right, now I'm going to use a full tone 70 fuzz. It's like a BC 108 style fuzz. Here's where it's at. And you can see how quickly it cleans up when I roll the volume down with a fuzz. So if you listen to a lot of those old, and you see how noisy it is, meh, old fuzz pedal, that's what Hendrix would do a lot of the time. He would never turn his fuzz off, he would just ride his volume. If you listen to the many bootlegs that exist of him playing, you can hear him just riding the volume all the time, and when it gets right to the top, it fuzzes out, which is a neat little characteristic. So let's switch it over now and hear some humbucker sounds. All right, now let's push it up with some humbuckers. I have it dialed in similarly to before, and then we're going to mess with some of the brightness controls. So here we are, everything on 10 in the bridge. Maybe that's a little dull sounding, so let's take it to the first brightness stage, and let's roll the bass down a little bit and push the treble up a bit, and here's where we're at now. So now we're getting a little bite on top, which is starting to sound more like those tones that we all know. Okay, let's push out the gain a little more. Let's crank this beast up a bit. It's the highest, brightness setting. It's getting pretty bright, but it's not unpleasant. Now to me, these amps, when you get them to 10, they get kind of splatty. But right here, you're really getting a nice response. It's still full on the bass, and it's pretty gained up. There it is, the PRS HDRX 100.